Have you ever wondered how much longer our planet can sustain the current rate of greenhouse gas emissions? This is not just a question for scientists or environmentalists, but one that every one of us should be asking. Our planet is at a crossroads, and the decisions we make today will echo for generations to come. Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's a present reality, and the clock is ticking. Rising temperatures, melting ice caps, extreme weather events, these are all signs of a planet in distress. And at the heart of this distress are greenhouse gases. These invisible culprits trap heat in our atmosphere, causing the Earth's temperature to rise. This process, known as global warming, is the driving force behind the climate change we are witnessing today. But where do these greenhouse gases come from? The answer lies closer to home than you might think. Human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels for energy, are the chief contributors to the greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. Every time we drive a car, fly in an airplane, or even switch on a light, we are adding to the problem. And the problem is immense. It's estimated that in the last 150 years, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased by over 40%. That's a figure that should give us all pause. Yet while the scale of the problem is daunting, it's not insurmountable. The choices we make, the technologies we adopt, the policies we implement, all of these can help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We have the power to change the course of our planet's future. The solution to this looming crisis lies in our hands. It's time to talk about sustainable energy and net zero emissions. The path to a healthier, more sustainable planet is not a distant dream. It's a reality we can achieve, but only if we act now. It's time to move from awareness to action, from concern to commitment. Our planet is depending on us. You may have heard the term net zero, but what does it actually mean? Let's unravel this term. At its simplest, net zero refers to a balance, a point where the volume of greenhouse gases we put into the atmosphere is no more than the volume we take out. Picture it as a seesaw where we aim to keep both sides perfectly balanced. To understand this better, let's break it down. Greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide and methane, are major contributors to global warming. These gases trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere, causing temperatures to rise, a phenomenon we know as climate change. When we talk about achieving net zero, we're talking about stopping this temperature rise in its tracks. But how exactly do we achieve this balance? There are two main parts to this equation. The first is reducing our emissions, meaning we need to produce fewer greenhouse gases. This can be done by transitioning to cleaner energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and changing our consumption habits, among other things. The second part of the equation is removing greenhouse gases already in the atmosphere. This can be achieved through natural processes like reforestation, where trees absorb carbon dioxide as they grow. Technological solutions such as carbon capture and storage also play a role, trapping carbon dioxide at its source or directly from the air and storing it underground. Now, let's talk about the 2050 target. Many countries and organizations around the world have set a goal to reach net zero emissions by the year 2050. This target is based on scientific evidence indicating that to prevent the worst impacts of climate change, we need to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Achieving net zero by 2050 is a critical step towards this. Net zero by 2050 is a bold and necessary goal, but how can we achieve it? This is a question that demands our attention, engagement, and action. As we move forward, we'll delve into the crucial role of sustainable energy, lifestyle changes, and collective action in turning this ambitious goal into a reality. Scene script. Sustainable energy is key to achieving net zero. But how does it work? When we talk about sustainable energy, we're referring to energy that is produced and used in a way that supports long-term ecological balance. It's energy that we can keep using without worrying about running out or causing irreparable harm to our planet. A significant part of sustainable energy comes from renewable sources, such as the sun, wind, and water. These sources are naturally replenished, and unlike fossil fuels, they don't pump harmful greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. Take solar energy, for instance. It's generated by harnessing the power of the sun using solar panels. These panels convert sunlight into electricity that can power our homes, businesses, and even our cars. And the best part? The sun isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Then we have wind energy. Wind turbines capture the wind's kinetic energy and convert it into electricity. Not only is this process clean and renewable, but it's also incredibly efficient, with modern turbines able to generate enough electricity to power hundreds of homes. Hydroelectric power is another pillar of sustainable energy. This involves using the force of moving water, usually from a dam, to generate electricity. Like solar and wind, it's a renewable source and produces no direct waste. By transitioning to these renewable sources, we can significantly reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. Every kilowatt-hour of electricity generated by renewable energy is a kilowatt-hour that doesn't come from burning fossil fuels. But it's important to remember that sustainable energy isn't just about electricity. It's also about sustainable heating and cooling systems, energy-efficient buildings, and green transportation. All these components play a part in the bigger picture of sustainability. Switching to sustainable energy is an essential step towards achieving net zero. It can drastically lower our carbon footprint, and it's something that we, as a society, can actively work towards. But let's not forget, it's not the only step we need to take. Scene script. Energy production is just one piece of the puzzle. Our daily habits also play a significant role. We're all familiar with the phrase, change starts at home, and when it comes to achieving net zero, this couldn't be more accurate. There are several lifestyle changes we can adopt that, while they may seem small on an individual level, can make a significant impact when implemented on a larger scale. Firstly, reducing waste is a key aspect of this change. From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, every product we consume has a carbon footprint. By being more conscious about our consumption habits, we can significantly cut down on waste. This includes buying less, reusing more, recycling, and composting our organic waste. Next, let's talk about our diet. The food production industry, especially meat and dairy, contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions. By adopting a plant-based diet or reducing our consumption of animal products, we can lower our personal carbon footprint. It's not about becoming a full-fledged vegan overnight, but about making more sustainable choices whenever possible. Then there's transportation. Cars, especially those running on fossil fuels, are major contributors to air pollution. Opting for public transportation, cycling, or walking whenever possible can significantly reduce our carbon emissions. And if owning a car is a necessity, consider switching to an electric or hybrid vehicle. Another factor to consider is energy efficiency at home. Switching to energy-efficient appliances, insulating our homes properly, and using renewable sources of energy can all contribute to reducing our carbon footprint. Lastly, let's not forget about water conservation. Simple actions like fixing leaks promptly, using water-efficient fixtures, and being mindful of our water usage can all contribute to the net zero goal. Remember, these changes don't have to be drastic or immediate. Start small and gradually incorporate more sustainable habits into your lifestyle. By adjusting our habits, we can all contribute to the net zero goal. After all, every little bit helps, and together we can make a world of difference. Achieving net zero by 2050 may seem like a daunting task, but remember, every journey starts with a single step. This isn't a challenge we can shy away from, nor is it one we should take lightly. It's an urgent call to action, an invitation to each one of us to play our role in preserving our planet. We can begin by supporting renewable energy initiatives. Solar, wind, hydro, and other forms of renewable energy are the future. They're cleaner, sustainable, and help reduce our carbon footprint. But they need our support to thrive. That could mean installing solar panels on our roofs or simply choosing to buy electricity from renewable sources. Every bit counts. Next, let's talk about lifestyle changes. We can all make small changes in our daily lives that, collectively, can have a huge impact. Think about the way you commute. Could you walk, bike, or use public transport more often? What about your consumption habits? Could you reduce, reuse, recycle more? And what about your diet? Could you eat less meat and more plant-based foods? All these actions help reduce our carbon footprint and bring us closer to our net zero goal. Lastly, we must advocate for climate-friendly policies. Our voices matter. We can use them to urge our leaders to prioritize climate action, to invest in renewable energy, to set ambitious climate goals. We can vote for leaders who understand the urgency of the climate crisis and are committed to addressing it. We can raise awareness about the issue, educate others, and inspire them to join the fight. The task at hand is monumental, but it's not insurmountable. It requires collective action, a shared commitment to our planet and to future generations. It's about more than just reducing carbon emissions. It's about building a sustainable future, a world where we live in harmony with nature. So let's take that